Welcome to the City of Eureka Springs Board of Zoning. This is a special meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd. It is approximately 6:41 in the evening. We have, I guess we'll go through the whole thing. We have no public hearing. We're going to start with roll call.
Joe Hill.
Here.
Fergie Stewart.
Here.
Ansa Lee.
Here.
Peter Graham.
Here.
Susan Hallman.
Here.
And I'm Tom Buford, president.
All right, so we're going to skip the Pledge of Allegiance because we've already done that formality for this evening. We're going to go into the Board of Zoning Adjustment special meeting. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
I
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as written.
I second it.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as it's written. We have next on our list public comments. Do we have anyone?
Need a vote.
Pardon?
Need a vote on that.
Oh, sorry. Just went right past that. Can I, all those in favor signify by saying yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, so public comments. Did we have public comments? Anyone sign up, Kyle?
No.
Do you have any letters?
No letters.
Okay, all right. So this is a special meeting for 1 Washington. This is a stop work order appeal by King and Rankin, and this is a request to reverse the stop work order issued on 5/1 of this year. There are a couple things that this relates to. I'm going to go ahead and read them. Number 1 is failure to obtain a certificate of appropriateness from the Historic District Commission for alterations to a structure in the Historic District, ESMC 140809 administration, and then 3, which is building permits in the Historic District. And then the other item is failure to comply with municipal code requirements regarding construction debris. And that's related to ESMC 50402, maintenance of property, B, remove garbage. So those are the reasons why we're here tonight for this appeal, based on the stop work order that was submitted by the city. I'm going to go into this maybe a little bit different, but Jacob, could you come up?
Can I say one thing while he's coming up?
Sure.
So I was asked to make it very clear for a special meeting, we're only allowed one topic of conversation. So I'm going to do a little bit of refing if I need to, but we're just looking at the stop work order that was issued for these 2 reasons, and that's all that we can talk about. So kind of the background information that I gave you in my staff report, we can talk about the issues related to this specific stop work order. But yeah, forgive me if I kind of rein you in if we get off topic, but I just want to make it really clear.
And I'll read the items that are related specifically to this particular special meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Jacob, I'm just going to read a couple things on this list here real quick, just so we have it as it relates to the stop work order. Just as an overview, on April 18th, 2022, we had via a phone call administrative approval for certificate of appropriateness issued for a damaged roof removal and replacement with same design and dimensions. You, of course, all have the design and dimension information in your packet. On January 19th, 2023, we had a letter issued by City Preservation Officer revoking their certificate of appropriateness for unapproved alterations. And then on May 1st, 2023, we have a partial application submitted to HDC Director. May 1st, 2023, we have requests for additional information made by HDC Director. May 1st, 2023, we have a stop work order issued by building official. May 2nd, 2023, we have an appeal for the May 1st stop work order filed with the city clerk. And then May 3rd, we have an appeal referred to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for hearing, which is where we're at now. Jacob, do you have any comments as far as this stop work order? I don't want to lead you, but can you explain to me why you put a stop work order on this particular property?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm looking for a certificate of appropriateness for the renovation and rebuild of the fire damaged building. Not so much that the roof structure obviously needs a certificate of appropriateness, but so does the actual rebuild and renovation of that property.
Okay, so as far as HDC is concerned, this is for the roof.
From what you read, that's what it sounds
Okay,
like. Yes,
so
ma'am.
this is for the roof. And then the municipal code requirement regarding debris,
Yes, so I initiated the stop work order because back in December 19th, 2022, in regards to my photographs and documentation that I've taken, the same type of building material, toilets, other debris was on the porch, the front porch of 1 Washington. I've asked them to remove that property to get that cleared out because it was a nuisance. It is against our municipal code to have that visible from a street view. May 1st is when I initiated a stop work order to have them remove that, so it took them 5 months to get that debris off the front porch area. May 2nd is when my stop work order was removed. Other than I didn't remove it, somebody else removed it.
so the paperwork was removed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you go out and you do a stop work order, there is something that is posted on the property.
Yes, ma'am.
It's clearly visible to anybody that, I guess, needs to see it. And so you're saying that that particular stop work order paperwork or paper is no longer there?
Yes, ma'am. So
then-
it's, sorry, not to interrupt you. It states basically the date issued, the address, the reason for the order, then the work may resume after, and then it gives you kind of a detailed reason on how to fix the issue.
Okay, and so, I mean, is what city code? I guess my question really is if you didn't remove it, then it was removed somehow. Is there something in our ordinance that there's there should be a penalty?
Typically, there's fines associated with this.
Okay.
There is also, I could work with the owners to reconcile the issue other than having the penalties enforced, but there is fines that can be established with removal of that signage. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Jacob while he's up here as far as as it relates to each one of these items? Do you feel like you have enough information in front of you?
I have a question. It says that on March 2nd, 2023, there was a letter sent to Mr. King about the fact that there was alterations in the design and alterations of the way it was reconstructed. Can you go over that? Can you explain that a little bit? Is that what we're referring to here?
So that was actually a letter that the planning department sent out, just giving them notification that they had unapproved alterations, and they had a certain amount of time to get back to me with a plan on that.
But it is related to the roof?
Yes.
And
Okay.
what is that? I mean, is that something we can ask? I mean, what alterations or what was not followed that required this to occur in the first place?
So the COA that was issued on April 18th by the previous preservation officer is the fourth page in your packet.
So it says the replacement, same design and dimensions. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, remove and replace fire damage roof, replacement, same design and dimensions is the application. And then the next page is a certificate of appropriateness that was issued to remove and replace fire damage roof, same design and dimensions.
So is that saying that that was not done? The removal and replacement of fire damage roof was
Right.
not done?
So if you look on page 3, this is what the insurance submitted, and there should have been a upper story on that structure, and that's what was approved by the COA, and that was not what was done in the scope of work.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Does anyone else have any questions? Any questions? So that was roof. Any question on debris as far as what Jacob has explained was the issue there? Any questions on the stop work order paperwork that apparently is no longer on the window?
Is there any idea of what happened to it, Jacob?
No, sir.
Okay, so I don't think anybody else has any questions, Jacob.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, actually,
Oh, you want to grab them on
I'm just
real quick?
curious, how is it posted? Like a stop work order, is it taped on all sides or something that just has one pin on it that wind could have blown it off?
It
or
has an
weather?
adhesive, it's adhesive, so you apply it to the building, some are visible to where the owners, the contractor, anybody on site of that project can see what's going on, why it's being stopped, and then the remedy to fix the problem. So it's clear right there. It's a bright orange sticker that I apply to the buildings when there's an issue.
So you'd have to take a razor blade to get it off?
You could remove it, it's going to take a little work,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it can be done.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're very welcome.
John and Bill, you want to come up? Okay, so you know what the stop work order was for,
Yes.
and your appeal is, you know
Okay.
that?
Can I just speak for a few minutes?
Yeah, so,
Okay. First of all, this appeal hearing is illegitimate.
I'm sorry. You said-
It's illegitimate. I'm going to read you from the code
Okay.
about how these appeals are supposed to work. Every decision by the building inspector shall be final unless appealed within 10 days to the building of the building official's decision. Appeal shall be made in writing to the Board of
Board of Zoning?
No, there's a special board that's supposed to, I abbreviated it, now I'm forgetting. Anyway, there's a special board that the city code outlines. It's supposed to have a general contractor, a licensed electrician, an HVAC person, an architect, or an engineer, and one at large, and they must live in the city. That's City Code 11.04.02. Board of Appeals is what the BOA is for. The city doesn't have one. They're required by their law to have one, but they don't, which is why someone thought it was a good idea to send me here. Regarding the HDC, nothing seems to be done according to the city code. Stop work orders are not the remedy for any of these things that are happening. As far as the penalty for the HDC violation, any person who violates any of the provisions of this chapter shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction shall be fined not less than $10, nor more than $500. So that's the remedy for an HDC appeal. I will say, as far as the HDC, I submitted the drawings of the roof. Kylie, who worked here at the time, did not write down that rear room that was on top of the building was being removed. It was by order of the fire marshal. Everything you see from the street is exactly as it was, but that top room that burnt off completely, it was a fire trap. The fire marshal said we could not rebuild it. It is in the plans, if you have the plans, that I submitted to the city at the time I applied for the HDC. They somehow lost the paperwork in the transition of employees, and I resubmitted it a few weeks ago to Kyle.
Do you have a copy of that with you?
Do you have a copy of it?
I do.
It clearly states that room will be removed and should be removed, must be removed.
So this is the incomplete application that he is referring to that he most recently submitted to my office.
That was the original or the updated?
That's the most recent one.
It wasn't updated, it was just resubmitted.
Okay, what day was that submitted, Kyle? Does it have a date on it?
It should have a date on the signature.
Okay.
It's 5/1/23, so May 1st, 2023.
When was the original?
That's fine. The original was last summer.
Okay, so
Were there any changes?
go ahead and just take a look at that. I just want to
Yeah.
clarify on dates. So that was submitted on 5/1/23.
Yes, and I have
But our-
asked them for more information, and I have not received that.
Okay, so, but when did our original discussion start? As far as when was the roof completed
The roof was completed probably in August.
of 2022?
Yes.
Okay, so in August of 2022, the roof was completed. At the time it was completed, it was incorrect according to what HDC had approved. So that's August.
According to what was written on the certificate of appropriateness, because they had the information of what was going to change on that roof.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that last part?
Yeah,
They had the information in the architectural drawings that I submitted of what was going to happen up there. Because of an oversight, I guess, there's been many oversights at City Hall. I'm going to quote a few more here. But they didn't write that on the COA that room was going away.
okay, so I guess what I'm trying to find out is, if you're saying that they had the information, but they wrote the certificate of appropriateness incorrect, the roof was then built, it was noted that it was built incorrectly according to what was approved, whether or not somebody made a mistake on it or not. We're talking a good how many months before you've gotten this? Or before you've seen this?
So the first one that was issued by Kylie was April 18th of 2022. This one is May 1st of this year.
13 months?
13 months, right?
Yeah.
And then this information that is here and this information that is copied in here is from a registered architect, Terry J. McGuire in Arkansas. And that's who
Yes.
who drew these plans up for
Yes.
you? Was this a recommendation from the insurance company?
As far as,
They approved of this particular individual? I mean, is this an
no,
approved?
I mean, we have limited architects here and even more limited engineers.
Okay. You want to see
And
this?
Terry has designed other things for me in the past, and they've always been up
Okay.
to par.
Yeah, basically, it's the same thing, okay.
I would like to point out, in the transition, there were a lot of things that disappeared from the file. The letter that I found, I finally found it last week, but I was told by everyone at City Hall, including the mayor, who claimed he had never seen it, even though he's copied on all these emails. It was not in the file. It was the letter from the city attorney saying that we should be able to maintain our grandfathered, our non-conforming use.
And this is the letter that you
yes.
gave to us earlier?
Yes. And so I don't know why that is in question. You can't really question that after I was told that I could proceed and have 4 apartments at the end of the process, and then hundreds of thousands of dollars into the project, then change your mind, because we've had turnover at City Hall.
So,
Okay, hold on,
I was going to say, this isn't about their grandfather status.
yeah, I'm
Right,
going
this
to
is-
pull this back into
But
just
that's the only, that's the
This
only
is
thing
about
that you
the
all
roof.
really have
Yeah, this is
jurisdiction
about the
on.
roof
You don't
and-
have jurisdiction on the other things we're talking about.
Yeah, this is about the roof and the debris. Okay,
Okay, let me talk about the debris for a moment. Okay, this is what happens if you have a nuisance property. This is City Code 5.04.03. Notice of violations will be given written note of violators will be given written notice that they have 10 calendar days to correct the violation. It has to be mailed to you or posted on the premises. And then if it's not corrected in 10 days, the building inspector or police can cite it, can cite us. Okay, that's not what happened. I never received written notice. A red tag, a stop work order is not the remedy. How am I mean, I was cleaning up the property after he stopped me. The person I had hired to clean it up, he came on and threw them off the property. So I don't know, and then I'm not allowed to do anything there, which is why I sat there for 5 months with nothing happening.
Okay, does anybody have a question for either one of them as far as the timeline from when this all started and where we are today?
There's a legal term called detrimental reliance, and it's basically if I'm given permission to do something and then it's reneged and I suffer some detriment like loss of income or money, that's a pretty strong legal case. I just want you to know that. So. And also, as far as the certificate of appropriateness being revoked, I don't believe a city employee is empowered to do that. I believe that has to be a vote of the commission.
Does anybody have any questions? I have a question for Kyle. I don't want to step in until everybody else has asked their questions.
No, I guess, Bill King, if I could ask you, so from March, what day in March did the fire actually occur?
It happened on St. Patrick's Day.
So that was 18th?
17th of March.
17th of March, okay. So, I mean, looking at this, there's a number of months involved.
There was a whole lot of demolition involved
I
before we could do
understand.
anything. I got a roof on there as quickly as I possibly could because I didn't want the house to be ruined.
I understand, but I mean, I guess that's my concern. Is there anything you can tell us about that timeline? Was there a problem getting somebody on site?
It was a problem finding someone to do demolition. It took me probably 3 or 4 weeks to find someone to do it. They worked hard on it. They took all the burnt materials out, got it ready for re-roofing, and I hired a contractor to put the roof and the supporting walls that needed to be done.
Okay, that helps.
So I have a question. When the demolition occurred and the rebuild began, was there anyone that was brought in to determine if the building was safe? As stated on May 13th, this email states about it being 50% or could be, damaged 50% or less, more determines if it's condemned or not. Was there someone who looked at it and said the structural integrity of the building is okay for residents to live in there?
The insurance company assessed the damage and said it was rebuildable. I had the building inspector in there at the time. I also had the fire marshal in there and an architect.
Did they issue a report, the insurance company?
Yes, the city. If it should be in a city file, but it's probably with all the other missing things that were in the file. I asked, after this transition happened and there was starting to be trouble, I actually contacted Kylie, the former employee, and she said she would call the city and tell them where the paperwork was, and she responded back to me, actually Kyle told me that she was basically told that she no longer works for the city and she should butt out.
So, was there any way, so if the city mislocated this documentation from the insurance company, your insurance company?
I have it.
You do have
Sure.
it? Has that been provided to us to see?
I do have a file from the insurance company, yes.
You do, okay.
Does anybody else have a question? Okay, I just want to clarify with Kyle. So Kyle, I've got a letter here on the COA as of January of this year.
Yes.
And it is explaining that there was the COA issued on April 18th, which is about a month after the fire. So they did go to HDC and they were approved for the roof build at that time, as far as what it was supposed to look like, paperwork, all of that. It states in this letter that the work that was done, which Bill, you said was around August. So this letter went out in January.
Which work? The roof?
Yes,
The
on the
roof
roof.
was done by August.
Okay,
Sure.
the roof was done by August. This letter went out in January of 2023, and it, at that point, this letter is going out saying that it was not according to the approved paperwork that was sent to HDC. There is a request in here for more information or for you to amend. Did you receive anything back regarding this letter?
May 1st, I finally received a partial application.
Okay, and then there's also on this.
I did also get a COA to put new windows in the lower level.
Okay, and, well, this is just for the roof, so
Yeah.
let me just finish up with Kyle. On the 2nd of March, I've got, so the first letter was January, this is now March of 2023. I've got another email which is regarding the roof,
Yes.
okay? And it says, please submit the information that you're requesting within 30 days, which is basically what is your plan for fixing the COA as it was stated and as it was approved from HDC, if I'm reading this correctly. Did you receive anything back for that?
May 1st, I received a partial application.
Okay. And when you say a partial application, you're saying that it did not, what is a partial application? Like what did it have and what didn't it have that you needed?
I have sent out a request for more information, and I haven't received anything back.
Okay, so a partial application was a name, address? I guess what I'm asking is, was
Yeah.
the information provided to you what was provided to you, did it remedy what was in error to begin with?
No. So
Okay.
I have a partial for the changes to the roof,
And when you say a partial, what does that mean? Like,
an incomplete application.
okay,
Yeah.
What does that mean?
so it doesn't give you a plan to fix the issue, is that what
Right.
you're saying?
Right.
There is no
Okay.
plan to fix the issue. It's going to have to stay the way it is by order of the fire marshal. Did the fire marshal call you like he told me he was going to call you?
So the fire marshal can give recommendations, but he does not make decisions for HDC. That information I would have taken to HDC as information for them to make their decision.
Okay, so there's no formal record of the fire marshal?
I did get a letter from the fire marshal, yes.
Okay. And when did you receive the letter from the fire marshal? I'm assuming this is in 2023.
Yes. Friday, May 5th, says this letter is in regards to the upper apartment that existed at 1 Washington Street, a property owned by Bill King prior to a fire event. It is my determination, after code reference of IFC 2021, Chapter 10, means of egress, that this apartment with one exit that was accessed by interior stairwell had no direct access to an exterior exit cannot be permitted to be rebuilt. This particular apartment would violate rules for means of egress found in Table 1006.2.1, spaces with one exit or exit access doorway. In this building, this apartment would not be permitted, and I would not allow it to be rebuilt as previously configured. ESFD Fire Marshal James Cowan.
What's the
And
date?
to
Okay, hold
clarify,
on,
Sorry.
just
Sorry,
wait.
is that the
just wait.
date again? I'm sorry, what was the date on
May-
that?
So he did not date that letter, but in my correspondence back and forth with him on May 4th, I sent, "Hi James, thank you for getting me that letter. Just to clarify, will you not let them build another apartment up there? But they did not have to change the design configuration to the roof to be code compliant. Thank you for your help with this." His response is, "Yes, that is correct."
Okay, so there's two issues that we're talking about, or two issues that are concerning to you. And yours is for the safety of the individual who might have been, or at one time maybe living up in that particular area.
can I just clarify
But-
that it was not an apartment, it was a room?
Right,
And
I
I kept the
understand.
bottom of the stairway locked off so my tenants wouldn't
Yeah,
use
I
it because
understand
I
that.
knew it was a fire trap.
Right, and I get that, and I completely understand that. But HDC isn't in the business of determining whether or not it's safe or it's not safe. What they are just looking at is the structure and the design of the building. So even if it was just a,
And
you
it-
know, completely enclosed with a small crawl space, you know, it still would have been the right structure, so.
But it was in
I
the
get-
plan that I submitted to HDC
I
that
get
got
what you're
lost.
saying. Okay, so does anyone else have any questions? We've got the debris and we've got the design, the actual structure of the roof. Any other questions for that? Okay. Any other questions for Jacob before we get ready to vote?
May I ask what you're voting on?
We're voting to, all right, let me get this right. We're going to vote to,
So we either vote to uphold or rescind the stop work order.
okay. So whichever motion someone would like to make, it's either to uphold the stop work order or rescind the stop work order. It just has to be clear as to what we're,
If we could do it in the affirmative, that would be.
so affirm.
Yep. So I make a motion that we, on 1 Washington Street, that we vote, that we move to approve the stop work order.
Uphold the stop work order, yes.
Uphold.
Yeah. Uphold the stop work order.
Okay, so it's a motion to uphold the stop work order from the city on 1 Washington. Can I get a second?
I second that.
All right, so we've got a motion and we've got a second.
May I clarify that
We're
you
gonna-
can't clean things up if you have a stop work order? You're not
Yeah,
allowed to do anything?
Well, right now, we just have to vote as to whether or not we
Well-
agree with the stop work order. All right, so can we do a voice,
Just one second. Did you hear our case? Did we get to plead our case here? I really don't think so. I mean, you're going to be voting on something that's not very, very clear to me, nor the public, and I'm just wondering if we can have a little bit more clarification until you vote for this.
okay, I've got a motion and a second. As far as discussion goes, we did listen to what you had to say. I know that one of the items that you had mentioned was that you feel like that it should not be here in front of planning.
Correct.
That is the particular reason why we postponed the meeting from our last meeting, and that we're actually holding this special meeting tonight.
So can
from
you
our May-
address that concern for us?
I'm trying right
Okay.
now, yes. Can you just give me a second? So on the 9th of May, we had our regular scheduled meetings, and this was on our agenda. We postponed it because at that time, we were not clear as to what our responsibility was in regards to the stop work order. There is code out there that, yes, does mention the appeals board. I talked to a municipal league attorney. The city has talked to the municipal league attorneys, and they have recommended that it be here with planning. So whether or not I'm saying the right words, recommended, or that they have read through the code, state code and whatnot, and have said it is the responsibility of planning, I haven't read through everything. I just know that what they read to me and what they told me as a chair was that that is the reason, you know, their reasons were why it's here at this table tonight. So as far as that goes, we did do a postponement to make sure everyone was clear as to whether or not it could be heard at this table. So that issue has already been resolved as far as the city goes, as far as the commission goes. So what was your other issue?
The other issue?
Yeah, you said, I mean, weren't there two issues as far as code goes?
Yeah, the two issues. Well, I mean, and I will certainly highly disagree that city code doesn't apply as far as the Board of Appeals. But nuisance property, you're supposed to receive a written notice and have 10 days to fix it. You're not supposed to be given a stop work order because that's just kind of dumb.
Okay, so
The
Kyle,
other
do you
one-
understand what he's asking? And Jacob, do you understand what he's asking right now? That he's saying that he did not receive, you're saying that you did not receive the proper paperwork or the proper days for notice, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, can you come up to the mic and just,
I want to make a point of order here. We have a motion and a second on the table.
I know, but I'd just like to clear this one last
Okay.
item up.
A stop work order is a written notice.
It is a written notice. Kyle, you've got, I mean, you've got everything right there, right? As far as stop work order goes?
Yes, so the building official is responsible for the enforcement of certificate of appropriateness, even though it is not a building code violation. Municipal Code 110402A, building inspector may be required by the mayor to enforce provisions of this code outside the area of building and construction.
Okay,
But the remedy.
all right,
but
so,
This is important. But the remedy for that is a citation. It's not a stop work order. A citation, the reason we don't have a citation is because the police department will not allow Jacob Coburn to issue citations.
okay. All right, do you have
So
anything else to add?
it's his
Because we're
only- it's
about
his
to
only-
vote.
Okay, I just say if you uphold a stop work order, the house is going to just look trashy for a lot longer.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion and we've got a second to go ahead and, got to make sure I say the right word. Uphold,
Affirm.
affirm
That's right, affirm.
the stop work order on 1 Washington.
Affirm.
All right, let's go. Let's vote.
Ann,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Fergie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. All right, so we're,
Motion to adjourn?
can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?